This family channel I'm about to cover has had an extraordinary amount of hate and backlash over the past several years, and for many reasons. From removing the bed from their son's room and making him sleep on the floor.
I've been sleeping on a beanbag since October, and they gave my room back like 2 weeks ago.
To not allowing two of their children to celebrate Christmas.
Their unwillingness to repent, their unwillingness to feel sorrow over some pretty egregious choices that they've made. So Kevin and I have decided that we are going to give the gift of truth to them this year for Christmas. We are going to give them the gift of boundaries, and we're going to give them the gift of repentance.
To sending one of their sons to a very critically panned rehabilitation camp.
Okay, so you're probably wondering what the heck we're talking about. Chad today has just entered the Anasazi Foundation Wilderness Therapy Program.
It is safe to say that this family has done what I and many other people would say are awful things to their kids, and the internet has made them infamous, or more like they made themselves infamous. There's so much to cover with this family, so I'm going to cover the most major scandals I can find, as well as covering their disappearance. Where has this family disappeared off to, and why? Is it because they realize they're toxic in exploitative ways? Or do they have something even more nefarious planned? Let's find out. So hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Julia and I make videos on commentary and pop culture. And I also have a second channel where I speak on my faith and showcase little bits of my life. So if you'd like to subscribe to that, I'll leave a link below if you're interested. Also, yes, I've been gone. I've just been busy. My life's been very busy in a design boot camp. I do stuff in my church. So I'm just very, I just have a lot going on. I just want to let y'all know that I'm not going to disappear. I'm never just going to disappear and drop off the face of the earth without y'all knowing. I consistently update my community tab at least like once a week or so to let y'all know what's kind of going on. So never going to disappear. Just might not be posting consistently for a while, but I'm going to try to get back to weekly uploads. So if you don't know who the 8 Passengers are, they're another really crazy, wild family channel. So we really live in an era where clout is the new drug. Attention is the newest form of currency, aside from crypto and digital currency. We live in an era where people would do anything for the clout, include exposing their own children for the internet to see and outing themselves for doing really horrible things to and with their kids. The matriarch and patriarch of this family are Ruby and Kevin Franke, and they have 6 children. Sherry, who is 19, Chad, who is 17, Abby, who is 15, Julie, who is 13, Russell, who is 10, and the youngest, Eve, who is 8. This family started out on YouTube posting consistent vlogs in 2015, posting videos about their time together as a modest and quirky family.
What are we doing?
What is this?
It's a cake and inside is the color of the baby.
That began to change soon when viewers started noticing that this family didn't seem to respect their children's boundaries and would often threaten to take their own dinner away.
Okay, Russell. I'm only gonna say it one more time, and then you're gonna lose the privilege to eat dinner. What are you doing over there? No texting at the dinner table. No texting.
Let me see it. Let me see it.
No.
What is this? I really like you.
This family is so notorious that the internet literally started an online petition for CPS to be visited to their home, receiving over 17,000 signatures at the time of this recording. And the crazy thing is, CPS actually did show up to their home. I found this Yahoo article from 2021 where Ruby recounted the experience. Ruby basically chalked it up to cancel culture running amok and angry teenagers trying to take down their brand. So I'm paraphrasing, but you get the point. Essentially, she feels like she's done nothing wrong. She feels that people are just trying to take away her bread and butter because she admitted that her sponsors are her bread and butter. And so many sponsors such as Clorox, they pulled out once all of her scandals came out. Once people started pointing out the craziness in her videos, the way that she treats her son, Chad, who we're going to get into. There's a lot going on with that. And so she kind of just says, whatever, it's just people trying to take me down. Typical people who don't want to take accountability for any of their actions. It's always somebody else. So there's been intense concern surrounding the second eldest child in the family, Chad. Chad has had to face the brunt of his parents' quote-unquote tough love parenting. In 2019, the 8 Passengers revealed that their son was being sent away to Anasazi Foundation Wilderness Therapy Program, which is an outdoor therapy camp meant to help troubled youth as well as adults up to 25 with substance abuse, depression, and other emotional or behavioral concerns. They sent him away after being suspended from school for reasons they have yet to disclose. After being met with tons of criticism, Kevin Franke said, quote, "We need to face hardships and pain to develop resilience and grit. That's what leads to success in life. If we make things easy on our kids all the time, they're going to grow up to be snowflakes." Kevin Franke, 2019. I believe you need to be firm with your children, that's a given, but there's a line between assertive and abuse. I feel that the 8 passengers' parents here, they literally cross that line so many times to where their actions come off as so neglectful, as almost spiteful too. Sometimes, like, I feel like watching the videos that Ruby comes off extremely spiteful in the way she speaks. It's almost like she has contempt for her own son. For what reason? Who knows?
I don't have friends.
I don't have friends either.
I literally like told my friends I'm not hanging out with them anymore
Because
they say some pretty messed up stuff.
How do you feel about not having any friends?
Sucks, but I don't feel safe or accepted.
Vulnerable, you just say that on camera because you don't.
It's 10 o'clock. Have to stay hydrated. So I really hate these camps and rehabilitation programs. When I was younger, like, I remember I used to watch Dr. Phil a lot, and Dr. Phil would always send these kids to troubled teen industries such as Turnabout Ranch and whatever else. He used to always send these kids away. And I remember I never liked it as a kid because I thought it was lazy. Same with Beyond Scared Straight. If y'all watch Beyond Scared Straight, now I love Beyond Scared Straight. It was very entertaining to me as a teenager, but I also felt that that was kind of lazy, you know, sending your kids away as if there hasn't been a problem mounting for years. I believe that when a kid is acting out, it's not the kid acting out, it's a family issue. Like, it's not just the kid. You know, yeah, there are cases maybe where it really is just the kid, but I feel like more times than not, more often than not, it's a family issue. So these wilderness programs have a really bad rap. They have numerous accounts of children passing away and all kinds of ultra harmful and ridiculous methods in the name of straightening kids out. The camp that the Frankes sent Chad to is no exception. Newsflash, there's no quick fix when dealing with a problematic child. There is no quick fix when dealing with a problematic child. You cannot just expect them to send them away to a camp for 2-3 months and expect them to come back perfectly normal. I wanted to add that, of course, not all wilderness therapy programs or troubled teen industries are bad. You have your good ones, and I'm sure maybe if you're watching this video and you attended one of these programs, you probably had a great experience. But by and large, it seems that the cons outweigh the pros in these situations, which is why these wilderness therapy and these troubled teen industry camps, whatever, have such a bad rap in the mainstream media. Maybe something might get in effect for a couple of weeks, maybe, but it's always going to fall away because you have to get to the root of that behavior. There's a root behind all kinds of behavior. You have to get behind the root of that behavior, and you really need to dissect, okay, what is the parent not doing or doing that could also be contributing to this? So if you want to read more about the dangers of these wilderness therapy programs, I'll provide the article for you to read in the description. But anyway, back to Chad. Chad then revealed on camera not too long after he came back from this program that his bed was taken away for several months, and it's because he tricked his little brother into thinking they were going to Disneyland and hung him on the basketball hoop.
I've been sleeping on a beanbag since October, and they gave my room back like 2 weeks ago. I'll give you the reason why I lost my bedroom. It's pretty funny, but now that I look back, I mean, it's pretty depressing.
No, we never told our viewers.
That I woke Russell up at 2 in the morning and told him that we're going to Disneyland and he has to pack. And he got up and made his bed all neatly and then packed all his clothes in a suitcase. And then he walked out the door and I'm like, Russell, and he was like, what? And he's all happy. Has his sunglasses on. And I was like, we're not going to Disneyland. And he started crying and hitting me. And then he went back to bed in tears and then...
So the crazy thing is like, I kind of find that funny. Maybe the basketball hoop is a little much. I'd be kind of mad too. I'd be pissed if my brother ever tried to do that to me. But I feel like this is regular sibling stuff. Especially since Chad is so much older than Russell. It's very classic older brother taunts little brother. You know, especially because the older brother's bigger, older, smarter, you know, has all those advantages. So it's like, it's just kind of in their nature to pick on their younger siblings. Like my brother and I, we have a 6-year age difference. I'm 6 years younger than my brother. And I faced the brunt of so many of his jokes, so many of his pranks. You know, a lot of times my parents just chalked it up to, you know what, that's just what siblings do. So I would complain, I would fight, you know, I would lose at Smash Melee. I used to play Smash Bros. Melee all the time with my brother, and I would lose and I would cry and my parents would be like, deal with it. My parents would just be like, well, you lost. Okay, that's life. So I actually found this video on Reddit that I found to be super alarming, and it was of Ruby and Kevin complaining that their son Chad was irresponsible and dishonest, etc. But Chad always showed up at football, so he was an outstanding kid in football. He was on time at practice, helped clean up, was kind to his teammates, and all of that. So at first they let him play because they saw it was making an impact, but quickly after they took that away because they didn't think it was right that the only place that he was responsible and humble was in football.
So, and I'm sure you who are listening know of a child who's like this, but we had a child who was showing up dishonest, irresponsible, not humble in the home. Dishonest, irresponsible, not humble at school. But there was one place he always showed up, and that was at his sport of choice, football. And he did exactly what the coaches said. If the coaches told him to do something, he'd do it, and he'd do it extra. If he saw teammates who were upset, he would rally them. He had a shift in perspective. It was like, because that's the only place he's showing up responsible, that's the one thing that he needs to get rid of. We need to get rid of it because he's being compartmentalized and he's manipulating, because obviously he knows how to show up responsible. He's not willing to be honest, responsible, and humble for his thoughts, his feelings, and his choices everywhere else. He's just doing what he wants, and he just happened to want to be above and beyond at football. Why? Because that's where he was getting his worth.
Yep.
And so when we took away football, we took away his worth. That's what.
So basically, Ruby and Kevin ended up saying that they did not want their son to make an idol out of football. Again, Ruby and Frank are Christians. I think they're Mormon, which is a subsect of Christianity. So they felt that, oh, he's going to make an idol out of football. We don't want him to find his worth in football. Which I understand that sentiment in the sense that you don't want your kid to think that all they have to live for and all they care about, and that you don't want them to tie their worth to a game. Just like you don't want your kids to tie their worth to superficial things or things that are pretty, material. Like you don't want your kid to tie their worth to how much money they're making or how their grades are, or the kind of hair they have, or their race. Like you don't want someone to identify themselves so hard to something that they don't have a strong self-concept. All they care about are these little things. So I can understand that, but this is taking it to the extreme, because how do you not know that God possibly, let me speak Christian perspective here, Ruby, Kevin, how do you not know that maybe God was moving in that situation? Your kid was being very productive and awesome in football, and that was where he was developing those skills, developing that responsibility, developing that punctuality, developing that kindness, that humble spirit that we say we want our kids to reflect, the one that Jesus had. We want our children to reflect that, right? So how do you think taking away the one thing that is facilitating all these positive traits, how do you think that's going to help him? How do you think it's going to help him? And how do you think he's going to interpret that? Now, did you just tell him to stop and you didn't calmly talk to him about your concerns? You just took it away. You just took it away because you're upset that that's the only thing that your kid was actually excelling at that was outside of you. It was outside of your control. It was outside of your realm and your scope. Therefore, you took it away. I mean, that's just crazy to me. Like, if you, this is so funny. This was reminding me actually of an anime that I've been watching, Spy Family. If any of you watch anime, Spy Family's great. And in the episode, Anya, the little girl, she's struggling to do math, but she watches her favorite show and it's called Spy Wars. And when she watches the show, she's able to do math well because she connects it to the show. So Lloyd, her fake dad, basically sees this and is like, oh, so she understands fractions by watching the show. So then he starts to read the Spy Wars manga to help teach Anya math because he knows that that's what she can relate to. So I say that and I bring that example up to say that there are certain things that your kids will gravitate towards, that I feel like children gravitate towards, and you can use that as an avenue to get through to them. Football could be used as an avenue to help Chad, and you took that away. All right, I've been talking about this for too long. Let's move on to the next kid. So next we're talking about Sherry. Sherry is the eldest. Shari, I actually do not know how to say her name. Sherry is the eldest of the 8 passengers clan, and there have been many instances of Sherry being physically uncomfortable when her family films, but there are also many instances of Sherry being disrespectful, lacking courtesy, and picking pointless fights with her siblings. You'd want to chalk up Sherry's behavior to kids just being kids. Well, it really seems like Sherry's mother, Ruby, enables her inappropriate behavior.
Sherry's having an argument.
She's saying that lotion is not a liquid.
No, she's calling it an amorphous solid.
I can't believe my 8th grader is arguing that it's an amorphous solid. Scientifically, it's a solid. Oh, Sherry, just give it up.
So I want to say that I did kind of go in on Sherry a little bit in this video, but I do acknowledge that she seems to be doing a lot better nowadays now that she's out of the house and she's in college. You know, I think she just needed to get out of that bubble that was her parents to kind of realize that some of the practices and the ways that they handled them were not the best. And so, yeah, I can acknowledge that people can mature and change, but definitely when she was under her parents' roof, she was saying and doing things that just made no sense at all. So I feel like if you were kind of naive, you wouldn't see anything wrong with this clip. But TSA is clearly just trying to do their job. I mean, this man is clearly just trying to do his job. And I don't think you need a smart 8th grader trying to tell them that their lotion is an anthropomorphic solid. Excuse me, your lotion is lotion. You're holding up the entire operation because you're trying to fight over some freaking Bath and Body Works or Victoria's Secret lotion that you can easily just buy another bottle of. And the mom thinks this is funny when this is so like annoying. It's just like, let the dude. I hate when people inconvenience people just trying to do their jobs. Just let them do their jobs, bro. Like, let them do their jobs. I cannot stand when you have people trying to mess with restaurant workers, when you have people trying to mess with people like TSA. It's like, it's so annoying because these are people just trying to clock in and clock out. I also wanted to point out something that was really alarming about Ruby's behavior, and this is when they moved Sherry out of their home. So she said some very questionable things like, I'm not going to have this mantle of power over her.
On her behalf has been, it's like this mantle of power that I've had on behalf of my child. I can feel it lifting, and that mantle is not there for her anymore.
So I found this clip incredibly alarming, as it sounds as though Ruby is upset that she won't have control over her daughter anymore. Having a child leave the nest is always sad for a parent, but it's joyful because it's the first step that child can take to carve their own path and grow into a productive young adult. From what I understand about parenting, and I'm not a parent, but from what I understand and from what my parents have told me, their responsibility is to prepare me for the next stage of life. You know, you're responsible for preparing your baby to becoming, I guess, a toddler. I don't know. Your toddler to become a child going into elementary school. Then they go to middle school and then they go to high school, and you're preparing them for college, for the real world, you know, and then after college, you know, you kind of help them along the way. You guide them so that way they can be a productive, real adult. I mean, that's the job of a parent, and you should want to see your kids grow and change. Yes, I'm sure it's sad because they're leaving the nest, but acting as though you don't have this mantle of power sounds so sick. Like, that's sick. That's sick. That is sick. It's also ironic considering the fact that Ruby said she's not going to allow any of her children to live with her past 18.
My kids are not welcome to come live with me after they're 18. I am very straightforward about that.
So this isn't to say that you should just allow your kid to be a bum and not do anything all day, but to, I don't know, but to be so quick, like, it's like you want to get rid of them so bad. I mean, I get it in like a joking manner. It's like, man, I can't wait to be free and da-da-da-da, and be able to, like, I get it. I get that feeling of just being able to focus on the next half of your life now that your child is an adult. I understand that. But I think in some ways it sounds really odd because it's like, dang, it's like you feel like raising them for 18 years was a burden. Then you shouldn't have had the kid. I'm sorry. You shouldn't have a kid if you feel like providing and caring for them is a burden. Then don't have kids. It's that simple. Also going to talk about some other questionable things that Ruby has done. Ruby filmed a car accident for her channel. She nearly got into a car accident with all the children in the car and proceeded to keep filming.
Are we hit? Are we hit? Are they okay? Are they okay? Are you okay? You're okay? Everyone's okay. Russell, it's okay. What happened? It's okay. Everyone's safe. It's okay.
She's also been filmed doing some really what I say are weird things, like drinking her friend's breast milk, licking a rat, also not packing her 5-year-old daughter lunch.
Just got a text message from Eve's teacher, and she said that Eve did not pack a lunch today, and can I bring a lunch over to the school? This happens, know that her teacher is uncomfortable with her being hungry and not having a lunch, and it would ease her discomfort if I came to the school with a lunch. But I responded and just said, Eve is responsible for making her lunches in the morning, and she actually told me she did pack a lunch. So the natural outcome is she's just going to need to be hungry. And hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her a lunch.
Okay. This is extremely disturbing because, again, your kid is literally 5 years old. As an adult, sometimes I forget to pack things for myself. Whenever I'm going somewhere, if I'm like if I'm going to go work in a co-working space or a cafe, sometimes I'd be forgetting things. So to say that, you know, you hope no one feeds her, that's sick. Again, do you have contempt for your own children? Do you have contempt? Do you hate your own kids? Like, I don't get that. And then, like, I hate how this family wants to kind of wrap themselves up in a bow, like they're this perfect conservative family. And it's like, they always want to hide behind that mask when everything they do is ungodly. Like, everything they purport is ungodly, yet when push comes to shove and they're getting, you know, brandished in the media, then all of a sudden, we're men and women of God who want to raise our children. But here's the problem. You cannot sit here and say that you're of God, but you're not striving to live a Christ-like life. You're not striving to live a life that's consecrated onto Him. That's some Bible right there. So just in case, because I know some Christians are probably going to come on here and tell me that I'm judging righteously, as the Bible calls us to in John 7:24, to judge righteously. A lot of people take that typical verse in Matthew 7, judge not lest ye be judged, out of context, but that verse is speaking against hypocritical judgment. Don't condemn people for the same things that you're doing. You got to read everything in context, folks. So I just wanted to say that because I knew those comments were going to come. So, like, it's just I just can't stand it. I just cannot stand. I feel like a lot of these family channels, they be doing stuff like that, and it's just, I can't stand it because you're manipulating your audience, especially people who may not be as spiritually keen or as spiritually strong, and they kind of just take your word for it when, again, everything you do is not Christ-like. I mean, to try to say that your 5-year-old daughter needs to remember to pack their own food when they're literally learning their ABCs at that point, they're learning their 1, 2, 3s, and you expect them to remember to pack their own lunch? At the very least, give her lunch money. If you don't want to pack her lunch for her, give her lunch money to buy lunch at school then. That's what my parents started doing for me when I was like 6. You know, they would pack lunch for me, and then up until maybe 1st or 2nd grade, they just gave me money to buy food every day. So now we're going to talk about where the Franke family, the 8 passengers, had disappeared to. So they've basically disappeared into a thing called ConneXions, which is like some type of counseling group, counseling organization. ConneXions, per their website, is a group designed to help treat those lost and stranded in the darkness of distortion, which addictions, fears, sadness, and other self-destructive behaviors derive from. The ConneXions curriculum strives to help individuals take responsibility for their thoughts, feelings, and actions in a way that will help their relationships thrive. So, you know, Ruby is on there a lot, and we're going to kind of talk about why that's so problematic. But one of the bigger, I guess, stirs she made on that channel was when she talked about her daughter being on TikTok. So I really wanted to get into this because she felt that she did not want her daughter dancing to Low by Flo Rida. They were making a TikTok dance and she really didn't want that. Okay, so I have a couple friends that are educators and I kind of asked them for their opinion on this. And they were kind of like, we don't necessarily endorse or slam TikTok, if you will. Maybe we might have our kids make a TikTok for like a spirit week, you know, do something fun with the teachers to promote the school. But in terms of us actually saying, hey, let's do this TikTok dance, that's not something they're familiar with. But I know other schools kind of like to endorse TikTok for more educational purposes and sometimes just to have fun, harmless fun.
Sheesh! There you go. Sheesh!
With that being said, going back to Ruby, she was upset that they were having her daughter do a dance and she felt that it was inappropriate. And so she made this whole rampage, went on a whole stir, complained to the principal, went to the school board. And in the comments, she would really complain whenever people would kind of call her out and say, well, I have a right to be upset and I need to speak up for the kids and da-da-da-da. So what I want to say is, first and foremost, I think she has a right to be upset about her child dancing to a certain music. I mean, honestly, let's just be real. The song Low by Flo Rida, while it is a classic, it isn't the best song. I mean, if you want your kids to dance to something, have them dance to like Happy by Pharrell. But with that being said as well, I'm also aware of the fact that you can't shield your kids from absolutely everything. Me personally, I think music is very, very powerful. And I literally had like a whole section where I was going to go into like what I've learned about music and like how it affects the brain and how it affects our bodies and how it affects us in so many different ways. I mean, alpha waves, beta waves, but you know, I don't want to go too off track. So, I mean, if you guys want me to do a little mini video about music, just because I find that stuff interesting, I'll tell y'all what I learned. I'm not an expert. I'm not a scientist, but I found the effect that music has on us to be really, really insane. And it's not just music. It affects us. It affects us more than y'all would think. I'm just saying that she has a right to be upset about that, but what she doesn't have a right to do is go and try to ruin it for the other kids, because at the end of the day, those are not your kids. It's not your fight to fight. Who is texting me? It is not your fight to fight. It is not your battle to fight. And so all you have to do is just tell the teacher, hey, I'm not comfortable with this, and have your kids sit out. That's it. That's all. Okay? Because at the end of the day, the school's gonna do what they want to do. The world's gonna do what they want to do. You can't sit there and just try to like take it all upon yourself and you can't. You don't got the juice like that. I'm sorry, you don't got the juice like that. Just tell the principal, hey, I don't like this, and then call it a day. Now we're going to go into the ConneXions group shadiness. So the founder is Jody Hildebrandt, and per this website, therealitysnark.com, I really got to find out why the founder of this organization is so problematic. So basically, Jody Hildebrandt was put on probation and was in danger of losing her license as a clinical mental health counselor. The probation occurred when Hildebrandt violated her patient's privacy and took to blackmailing him. So what happened was this patient was working with them for quite a long time, and he was realizing that he wasn't really getting counseling. He felt like he was getting really little counseling. Hildebrandt alleged that he had a corn addiction. I'm saying corn for YouTube sensitivities. He had a corn addiction, which he denies. And so she began charging the couple $1,200 to $2,000 monthly bills for their therapy sessions. And when Doe attempted, they named him John Doe. When he attempted to question her counseling, she turned to blackmail. So as a result of violating state laws by disclosing classified information, Hildebrandt was put on probation for 18 months. So where Ruby comes into this is the fact that Ruby is not a licensed professional. Therefore, she's not held to the same code of ethics and standards that a typical licensed mental health or medical professional would be. And that's the thing. Hiring people on that are just very, okay, I want to be a life coach, because that's essentially where Ruby is. She's like a life coach in this organization. I think it's very questionable considering the fact that she does not have the credentials. She does not have the mental health awareness. So really, she can end up saying whatever she wants, and then she's not going to be held to the same standard because she's not a professional. I think that's very, very shady, and that's what makes this really, really disturbing. There's a lot there's so many videos. So I mean, if you really wanted to dive in, there's so much that you could find in terms of this YouTube channel and what Ruby says and how she ruffles people's feathers. I think in some senses she does not mean any harm, but she goes so radical with her ideology that it turns a lot of people off, turns me off. Like, dude, and also with her past, with the way she's treated her children, with trying to mask it as tough love and, oh, it's just cancel culture. People don't even want to listen to your side of the story because you're so egregious with it. So this family is quite the nut house. I feel bad for those kids. What I actually spoke about in today's video was what y'all put on my community tab. And so I wanted to touch what a lot of you guys complained about in the community tab. So this family's crazy, and hopefully they don't come back to daily vlogging. But if they do, we have to brace ourselves. So I thank you guys for watching this video today. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really hope you liked the lighting situation. I forgot to mention that in the beginning, but I did this whole new lighting because I just wanted to change it up and I was bored with the original stuff. And I think sometimes when you are a creator, the best way to kind of give yourself that boost to keep creating is to change it up. Change your filming, change your editing style, and that keeps it interesting for you. Tidbit for anyone who wants to be a creator. So thank you guys for watching this video. Again, I really hope you enjoyed it. Please hit that subscribe button and I'll see you next time.